Hey Kairos leaders! Welcome to Dallas, Oregon. If you type in Dallas, Oregon, D-A-L-L-E-S on Google Maps, you can see where I am right now. I am at a farm right now where some awesome food is grown. You can see behind me these big white kind of like long tubes. These are called hoop houses. And what these do is they keep the plants inside warm, they keep them protected. And a buddy of mine is growing a whole lot of magical food here. So I thought, what better place to talk about soil than on a farm? Now, speaking of soil, I'm kind of standing on a mound of it right now. This huge mound that I'm on is all soil. And at one point, this whole mound was leaves. Only a year and a half ago, all of this right here was these leaves. Now, it sat in a pile for a year and a half, and all of a sudden, these leaves have turned into the soil that grows our food, that keeps our forests healthy, that keeps our air clean. I wonder how it all happens. Let's find out. So lately the weather has been really nice, and it hasn't rained for a while. And something that I kind of miss is the smell of a rain after a long dry spell. Have you ever noticed that when it rains for that first time after the ground is really dry, there's this special smell in the air? That smell, that phenomenon, actually has a name. It's called Petrichor. Now, Petrichor is a Greek word, and if we break it apart, it goes into two parts. Petra is a Greek word for stone, kind of related to soil, the earth. Core is a Greek word from the fluid that runs through veins of God. So it's saying there's this really special thing that happens when that fluid comes down from the sky and hits the dry stone-like ground. Petrichor. Say it with me. Petrichor. Now, what's happening when we get the phenomenon of petrichor is that when it rains, there's a bacteria that wakes up. A bacteria that lives in the soil. Bacteria is something that is all around us in our world. Some of it is really helpful for us. We need bacteria to survive. Some of it's more harmful, which is why we wash our hands. But there's a really great bacteria, and it's called streptomycin. This is my little streptomycin bacteria right here. And when it rains, the streptomycin comes out of the soil, and it releases a chemical, a molecule, called geosmin. Now, this is a strand of 3 different geosmin molecules. This right here would be one. So this is a molecule that's released in the air. A molecule is a collection of atoms. And this molecule, H2O, water, is also a molecule. This molecule floats about, and we smell it. Humans have a really keen sense for geosmin, the molecule that gives it the smell, released from the bacteria. Humans have a really keen sense for it. And the other creature that has a keen sense for it are creatures called arthropods. Now, arthropod is another word where we can break it up and it means jointed leg. An arthropod is most bugs that we have in the world. One example of arthropods is beetles, ants, butterflies, crabs are also arthropods, scorpions, all arthropods. In order to be an arthropod, you need 3 key features. Here's an arthropod right here. This arthropod has a hard exoskeleton. My skin right here is nice and soft, but where my shoes are, it's really hard. My shoes could be like my exoskeleton. So this creature right here has a hard exoskeleton. It has a segmented body. That's the second requirement to be an arthropod. The head is a different segment from the rest of the body. Secondly, it has jointed legs. legs that move, like mine, so you can see where the joints are in the legs. If you're an arthropod with 3 legs, like this one, you're an insect. But if you're an arthropod with 5 legs, like this one, well, you're called a crustacean. If you're an arthropod with 8 legs, like this one, then you probably know it. An arachnoid, like spiders. So these are all different types of arthropods. Now what arthropods do is they move around in the soil and they find things like leaves and they eat it. And then what they poop out is actually soil. So it turns out soil is actually bug poop from all of these arthropods. I know, isn't that crazy? Soil is just bug poop. So all of these arthropods are moving all around the soil, munching up the big pieces, and then what they poop out is all of this. So when this bacteria smells the rain, and it releases this molecule that attract the arthropods come to the soil and they start burrowing. And they burrow around and they start munching and eating. So this phenomenon here, this whole one that we talked about, Petrichor, is a way in which soil is formed. It's the way in which all of the leaves, the twigs, the branches, the food is all broken down into the soil that makes our world.
After a long dry spell, it starts to drizzle. Soon it's coming down heavy, a big rain. And the perfect time for us to observe the phenomenon of petrichor. That lovely smell of soil after a good rain. Now petrichor is caused by the bacteria streptomycin, which wakes up in response to the rain and releases the molecule geosmin. Geosmin is sensed by humans and arthropods alike by our smell of it. That lovely smell attracts all of the arthropods to the soil. They flutter about and land. They crawl to it. All of the bugs, the insects, the arachnoids, the crustaceans begin to burrow into the soil. As they burrow into the soil, they create space, allowing the water to be absorbed so that the plants can soak it up. They also munch on all of the plant matter and poop out soil to help in the process of decomposition. Thanks to streptomycin, all of the arthropods come to the soil just when it's needed the most in this awesome phenomenon of petrichor.
Hey soil scientists, I hope that you liked that video demonstrating petrichor. It was pretty cool seeing it in action, right? So now, for your assignment this week, we are going to begin a fun experiment that allows us to really see petrichor in action. So right now, it's pretty sunny out. It's pretty nice. And we're going to do what's called a soil survey. Now, to survey something is to look at all of it, to look closely and to know what's there. So when we do a soil survey, we're looking closely at the soil so that we can know exactly what's there. Now, in order to do this, it's very helpful to have a science journal. In the description to this video, you can find a link to Miss Jane's instructions for how to make a science journal if you don't have one. Otherwise, a piece of paper, the back of a cardboard box, anything will work, but you just need to hold on to it. So it's something that you need to be able to find later. So what we're going to do is we are going to draw out our soil survey sheet. So this is what we use to keep track of what we're looking for in the soil. So the things that I have here are that I have a title, Arthropod Soil Survey. I have the day, the weather, that's very important, sunny with some clouds, and the location. I'm at Sanctuary Farm. I forgot one thing, which is that I need the size of my soil survey. And I'm going to do one, I call it one arm's length. So from my elbow to my fingers. So I call it a forearm. And you can make a square with your forearm. And that's a good way for you to always know, because when you use your body, that's always there as a measuring stick. So then I have the different types of arthropods that I might find. Insects with 6 legs, arachnids with 8 legs, crustaceans with 10 legs, 10 legs and more, such as millipedes and centipedes, anything else that's not an arthropod. While I'm doing my soil survey, while I'm looking around in the soil, when I find things, I'll mark them here so that I have a sense of what's there. Now, this is, you can either do this by digging in soil, but if you're going to go dig in soil, then you need to make sure that you ask an adult first, 1, to go outside, and 2, if you can dig. If you don't have anywhere that you can dig, that's totally all right. You can do this just by watching. If you just look closely, looking at some grass or at the bottom of a tree, even just looking at the sidewalk, you will still see bugs. So look closely in your area, and you're going to mark what you find here. Then, the next time that it rains, we're going to do this again. And we're going to compare our findings to see if we can see petrichor in action. Now I'm going to go back to the farm and I'm going to demonstrate this for you. If this is not the activity that you want to do today, you can also choose to make your own arthropod with whatever you find around the house. If you have questions about how to do it or any advice, I will be at office hours today from 1 to 3. For now, let's hop back to the farm so that we can watch a soil survey. Okay, so we're going to decide how big our area is going to be. I'm going to measure it based on my arm. So I've got from my elbow to my fingertips, and I'm going to do a square of that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really gently dig. You have to be gentle because you don't want to disturb the bugs. And I'm just going to gently sift through and see if I can find anyone. So very gently, okay? Very gently. And then, oh my gosh, I found a big bug. Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow, 6 legs, that's an amazing insect right there. Now I'm very gently holding it, okay? The bug won't harm you if it doesn't think it's in danger. You don't have to touch it if you don't want to. You can just notice it, but we have to be gentle because remember, these bugs are what make our soil. So now that I found one insect, I'm going to mark on my soil survey 1 dash. So now I found one insect. I'll keep doing that for however long I want to. See how many insects I find. My number 1 priority is keeping the insects safe, okay? So you can keep a lot of soil in your hands if you don't want to touch them, or you can find a stick and you don't even have to touch the ground. You can gently use the stick. And after you've uncovered a bug, be sure that if it was buried before, you rebury it, because the sun can be harsh for bugs. Okay, superstars, Kairos leaders, that's your activity for today. Thanks for tuning in with me, and I'll see you all soon.
Go.